I loved Liam for 7 long years. All my beautiful youth was devoted to him, only to be met with a painful truth. He slept with Iris, my best friend whom I completely trusted. My entire world crumbled in that single moment. Just as Iris was excitedly preparing to enter that wealthy family, I unexpectedly found myself in another space. Cruel fate had brought me back as Liam's biological mother, who would also be Iris's future mother-in-law. That night, I tossed and turned in bed, secretly laughing. Blindly in love? No way. I decided to change my game plan. A girl pretending to be innocent and pitiful. This time, I'll spare no effort to become the villainous mother-in-law she deserves. At the family dinner, Liam appeared with a girl. She wore a long white dress, light makeup, and her tear-filled eyes made her look both demure and gentle. But only I knew that this appearance was just a facade, a perfect girl for deception. "Mom, this is my girlfriend Iris. I intend to marry her." Seeing Liam's determined gaze, I let out a mocking laugh. "Oh, wasn't your girlfriend Miss Serene? When did she change to Iris?" Immediately, both Liam and Iris's faces turned ugly. I calmly watched them, a faint smile playing on my lips, waiting to see what interesting show they would put on next. Thinking back, Liam and I had been in love for 7 years. Both families had even started discussing wedding arrangements. He had also bought a wedding ring, unfortunately, not for me. To this day, I still remember Liam's birthday. That year, I was working in another province. To make it in time to celebrate with him, I worked through the night to complete my project, then rushed to his house, planning to surprise him. On my way, I received a text from Iris, who was still my best friend at the time. She joyfully announced that someone was about to propose to her. I even called her to congratulate her. The result, the one who proposed to her was Liam. In that moment, I became a laughingstock in everyone's eyes, and Iris was that best friend. However, just as she was happily preparing to marry into a wealthy family, I transmigrated. How interesting. I became Liam's biological mother and also Iris's future mother-in-law. Just thinking about it made me laugh. Just then, Liam said, "Mom, I've broken up with Serene. I don't like the young miss type like her. I prefer someone gentle and simple like Iris." After saying this, he smiled dotingly at Iris. Iris, feigning shyness, gently tugged at Liam's sleeve, her voice soft. "Liam, don't say that. Serene is just used to being a young lady. She's a little hot-tempered." The more she spoke, the softer her voice became, as if she were a pathetic victim, weak and unwilling to argue. Absurd, standing there, I just wanted to laugh. This performance was worthy of an acting award. In the past, Iris often feigned weakness in front of me. Seeing her pitiful state, I even helped her cover up quite a few bad deeds, treating her like my own younger sister, never scolding her once. I never imagined I was raising a wolf. Indeed, Liam was a victim of love, blindly trusting her. He glared at me, speaking each word distinctly. "Mom, when Iris knew Serene, Serene bullied her many times. Don't you know? I absolutely will not marry a loud, vulgar woman like her. I've already proposed to Iris. I will only marry her." Hearing that, I looked at both of them coldly, my gaze finally settling on Liam's face. "You want to marry her. Do you even know what kind of person she is, yet you insist on marrying her? Our Jiang family doesn't need people with questionable backgrounds." I emphasized the last sentence. Immediately, I heard Iris's sobs. "Madam, I know I come from a poor background and am not worthy of Liam. If Madam doesn't like me, I can leave, but I swear I am not a promiscuous woman." After saying this, she turned away, feigning indignation. Liam immediately hugged her tightly, his face tense, his eyes filled with anger as he stared at me. "Mom, what right do you have to say such things about Iris? She's never even had a boyfriend. How can you slander her?" I curled my lips into a sneer, each word like a knife. "Slander her? How laughable. She's had 3 abortions and dares to claim she's never loved anyone." My gaze briefly rested on Iris's face. When our eyes met, her face instantly went pale. But I never expected Liam to suddenly fly into a rage, lunging towards me, his eyes bloodshot. "Mom, do you know that fabricating stories is illegal? Iris is so gentle. How could she have had an abortion? Your words could ruin her life. I demand you apologize to her, or I will never forgive you." Hearing those words, I felt a surge of fury. My family and the Jiang family had a long-standing relationship. I understood what kind of person Madame Jiang was. Liam's father passed away early. Madame Jiang raised her son alone and bore the burden of a large corporation. She loved her son dearly, doting on him every step of the way, but this didn't make Liam understand his mother's hardships. Instead, it made him arrogant and reckless. To the point that, just for a woman, he dared to speak such disrespectful words to his own birth mother. I was so angry my hands trembled as I slapped him twice across the face. One for myself, and one for Madame Jiang. Liam, from childhood to adulthood, have I spoiled you too much, making you forget who you are? I stared at him, my tone icy. Fine, if you want to marry her, go ahead. But remember, from today onwards, you are no longer a member of the Jiang family. Marry whoever you want, it has nothing to do with us. Your bank cards, cars, everything will be confiscated. Don't expect to get a single penny. Liam clutched his face, frozen in place for a long time, not saying a word, only looking at me with cold eyes. Iris, panicking, tears streaming down her face, her voice trembling with self-reproach. Liam, it's all my fault, I'm not worthy of you. I'll leave right now, don't be angry with Madam over me anymore. Liam turned to look at her, then curled his lips into a sneer, a contemptuous smile. Mom, you don't need to provoke me, have you forgot? I am your only son. Iris, I will marry her. If you don't apologize to her, I will never forgive you. I looked him straight in the eyes, a faint smile on my lips, my voice low. Is that so? I looked at Liam with an expressionless face, then picked up the microphone nearby and stepped onto the stage. Excuse me for a moment, everyone. I'm sure you've all been waiting for this news for a long time. I now officially announce that the heir of the Jiang family is Ethan. After speaking, I tilted my head, my gaze falling upon Liam below. In that instant, he was completely stunned, as if struck by lightning, his eyes wide with horror as he stared at me. I offered a cold smile. Ethan, the adopted son of the Jiang family, has love turned you into a fool? Fine. I'll swap out the main player and put in the reserve. Immediately, the entire hall fell silent. All eyes turned to the two men below, Liam and Ethan. Clearly, no one expected me to hand the inheritance to an adopted son. It was well known that even though Ethan possessed outstanding talent, impeccable character, and perfect looks, he had no blood relation to the Jiang family. No, it can't be. Liam mumbled like a lost soul, his expression one of utter disbelief. Iris, standing beside him, also showed surprise, but she was clearly calmer, striving to maintain an emotionless facade. I stood on the podium, calmly looking down at them, my eyes arrogant, my lips slightly curved, my voice light as a breeze. Tusk, how disgraceful. I stepped down from the podium, the clicks of my 12-centimeter heels echoing on the steps as I advanced towards the two. Ethan immediately came forward, standing beside me, gently taking my arm. Mother, mind the steps. His voice was deep and warm. At that moment, Liam suddenly lunged forward, his eyes bloodshot, almost insane. Mother, have you gone mad? How dare you give the inheritance to Ethan, an outsider? Who is he? Is he worthy? After speaking, he reached out to pull me away. But immediately, Ethan stood in front of me, his brows slightly furrowed, his voice cold and deep. Liam, speak to Mother respectfully. Seeing Liam about to lose his temper, I said nothing. I simply reached for a glass of wine nearby and poured it straight over his head. Are you sober yet? If you are, then get out. The air around us seemed to freeze. Clearly, Liam hadn't expected me to do that. His face immediately turned beet red. In that instant, the entire hall's attention turned to Liam. Whispers echoed everywhere, sounds layering upon each other. Liam's face continuously changed red, then white, finally black with rage. In the end, he simply suppressed his anger, gritting his teeth. Mother, this is useless. I don't believe you'll truly let Ethan inherit the Jiang family. With that, he pulled Iris and left the party. I watched their retreating figures coldly, not saying a word. After a long moment, I tilted my head to look at Ethan, my adopted son. Go block all of Liam's credit cards, repossess all his houses and cars. In short, everything belonging to the Jiang family, he won't take a single penny of it. If he wants to marry Iris, let's see if he's capable enough. I paused, then continued. Also, notify all shareholders. Next Monday, we'll hold a general meeting. Hearing that, Ethan paused for a moment, then the corner of his lips lifted, a hint of a smile in his eyes. Yes, I'll do it right away. I squinted slightly, realizing something, and immediately asked, What are you smiling about? Nothing, I just suddenly felt that Mother is a bit like. He didn't finish his sentence, only letting out a faint chuckle before turning and leaving. I watched Ethan's retreating figure, my eyes narrowing slightly. HMPH, this kid definitely still hides many secrets from me. Monday morning, the Jiang Corporation's shareholder meeting took place. I intentionally didn't notify Liam, but he still showed up. Moreover, he brought Iris with him. This was completely different from his disheveled appearance the day I kicked him out of the party. Today, he was impeccably dressed, carrying himself with self-satisfaction, full of arrogance. Even the security guards at the door couldn't stop them. I secretly glanced at Iris, and in my heart, I knew she must have said something otherwise. With Liam's brain, how would he dare to act so arrogantly? "What are you doing here? Get out." My voice was cold, devoid of any emotion. "Mom!" When he heard me speak so directly, Liam's expression immediately changed, revealing a hint of panic. At that point, Iris gently tugged at his sleeve. Liam quickly regained his composure, adopting a confident and arrogant posture as if victory was assured. I watched them exchange glances, the corner of my lips subtly curving upwards. A flicker of interest ignited within me. I was eager to see how awful their expressions would become when they heard the contents of the meeting. Especially Iris. She had poured all her energy into thinking of every possible way to push me out of the Jiang family, believing that as long as she clung to the Jiang family's eldest young master, she would soon become a high society madam. But unfortunately, I won't let her have her way. Thinking of this, my lips curved slightly, and I let out a cold chuckle. "All right, everyone, please take your seats." Hearing this, Liam and Iris exchanged glances, their eyes betraying unconcealed joy and eagerness. I gave a soft HMPH and calmly opened the prepared documents on the table, my tone even. "It's getting late. Let's begin the shareholder meeting. I've invited you all here today primarily to announce something. I intend to gift the 12% shares registered under my name to the heir of the Jiang family." At this point, I deliberately paused. My gaze slowly swept across Liam's face, where determination to win was clearly visible, then shifted to Iris's greedy eyes. The corner of my lips curved into a faint smile, my voice decisive. "Ethan. From today, Ethan will be the second largest shareholder of our company, and he will simultaneously hold the position of general manager. Do any of you have any objections?" For a moment, the entire meeting room was silent. "No, it can't be." Liam sprang to his feet, his face pale, his eyes filled with anger and utter disbelief. Even though I had publicly announced at the family dinner that Ethan would be the heir, Liam still deluded himself into thinking I was merely playing a prank. There was no way I would truly hand over Jiang Corporation to an adopted son with no blood relation. But after today's shareholder meeting, Ethan officially became the company's second largest shareholder and assumed the position of general manager. From now on, no one would dare look down on him. How ironic. The 12% shares and the general manager position should have belonged to Liam. Thinking of this, my lips curled up slightly, and I let out a cold, sarcastic laugh as I looked directly at the two of them. "What can't be? Don't forget, I already expelled you from the Jiang family. From today onwards, everything belonging to the Jiang family no longer concerns you. Oh, and one more thing." I deliberately paused, my icy voice making the atmosphere in the meeting room drop several degrees. "Your car, your bank cards, I've frozen all of them. Now live on your own strength. Considering our mother-son bond for all these years, I won't take back the 500 yuan cash you have. Consider it charity." With each word I spoke, Liam's face turned even greener. Finally, he seemed to lose all strength, slumping onto his chair, his face utterly devastated. I glanced at Iris. Her complexion was no better, ashen as paper. "Tisk, this is just the beginning of what you have to pay. The real show is yet to come. My best friend, my fiancé, you two haven't paid enough yet." Seeing their distressed appearance, I merely tilted my chin slightly. "The show is over. It's time to clean up." Noticing the displeasure in my eyes, Ethan immediately stepped forward, standing in front of Liam and Iris, pointing towards the door. "You two, please leave." Hearing this, Liam remained rooted, instead glaring angrily at Ethan before turning to the surrounding shareholders, his voice filled with fury. "Shareholders, how can you stand by and watch the Jiang family fall into the hands of an outsider? Don't forget, I am the Jiang family's only son, my mother's biological child. That Ethan is just an adopted child, like a stray dog picked up from the street. Is he worthy?" As soon as his words fell, the entire room became silent. No one spoke, and no shareholder sided with Liam. At that moment, Iris took a step forward, her voice soft and gentle, trying to sound persuasive. Esteemed shareholders, after all, the Jiang family still carries the Jiang surname. An adopted child, no matter how capable, cannot replace a biological child. Sooner or later, Madame Jiang will realize this. If you agree to support Liam, I believe Liam will not let any of you suffer losses. After speaking, Iris even smiled at me, as if certain that what she had just said would impress. I merely let out a light laugh, the corner of my lips curving with sarcasm. Iris was still too naive. Everyone present here was an experienced businessman. In this world, whoever has the ability to make money will be supported. Who cares if the heir is a biological child or an adopted one? What they truly care about is profit. And in that regard, Ethan completely excelled. Since university, Ethan had been working at the company. It had been 10 years now, and his capabilities were clear for all to see. As for Liam, he always considered himself a rich young master, never having done any work from childhood to adulthood, let alone working at the company. He might not even recognize some of the high-level managers in the company. Indeed, not long after Iris finished speaking, a veteran shareholder spoke up. I believe the chairwoman's decision has its own reasons. Moreover, as I see it, Ethan's abilities are truly outstanding, and I also trust his character. Regarding the chairwoman's proposal, I have no objections. Immediately after he finished speaking, the remaining shareholders also affirmed in unison. Liam's face instantly turned ashen. He grabbed Ethan's arm tightly, about to lunge and hit him. Tell me, are you playing tricks behind my back? Otherwise, why are all of them siding with you? Even my mother trusts you and wants to leave the Jiang family to you. But at that moment, Ethan blocked Liam's fist. Who are you for me to badmouth behind your back? Take a look at your recent ridiculous actions. Are you even worthy of our asterisk mother? HMPH, who needs to share a mother with you? How I treat my mother is none of your business. Before Liam could finish, I immediately intervened. Liam, silence, it seems I've been too lenient in the past. Security, get these two out of here. From now on, they are forbidden from stepping foot into this company ever again. Mother! Only then did Liam truly panic, but it was too late. Security guards immediately rushed in and dragged both of them out. I looked around the meeting room, which had just regained its quiet, and waved my hand, dismissing everyone. All right, everyone, you can go. Standing alone by the window, looking down from the 13th floor, everything below seemed small. The cold wind blew, and I couldn't help but recall the events of the past few days. Liam and I had been in love for 7 years, but only recently did I feel I truly understood him. Seeing the intimacy between him and Iris, I realized that the signs of their illicit relationship had appeared long ago. It was only because I had trusted too much that I hadn't noticed. At that moment, the window in front of me suddenly closed. A cool, minty scent enveloped me from behind. Immediately after, a light jacket was gently draped over my shoulders. Mother, the night wind is cold. Your health isn't good. Too much exposure to the wind can easily make you ill. The man's voice was low and indifferent, yet it conveyed a hint of concern. I couldn't help but sigh. This Madame Jiang was truly pitiful. Her husband died early, she raised her son alone, only for him to become an ungrateful wretch. Fortunately, years ago, I had a soft heart and adopted this child. Now I see how filial and understanding Ethan is. He is usually quiet and reserved but very perceptive. You're very thoughtful. I looked at Ethan, unable to help but admire how handsome he truly was. Unlike Liam's elegant and refined appearance, Ethan's face had very sharp and distinct features. Sword-like eyebrows, bright eyes, and thin lips often pressed together when he wasn't speaking, making him appear somewhat serious. However, when he smiled, a charming yet slightly mysterious allure emerged. At this moment, Ethan suddenly offered a faint smile, his eyes filled with interest. Mother, lately you seem to have become a different person, haven't you? I remained silent for 2 seconds, not wanting to discuss this further, and changed the subject. Ethan, you're 28 this year. Why aren't you thinking about getting married? After waiting a moment with no response, I turned to look, realizing Ethan was still focused on me, his face devoid of any expression, making it impossible for me to guess his thoughts. My heart suddenly felt uneasy. Could it be? Then Ethan slowly spoke. Actually, I didn't have that idea, but now I do. Why is that? Do you have someone you like already? I teased him gently. I just hope you find a decent, serious girl. Ethan smiled faintly. Don't worry, Mother, you'll definitely like her. You're that confident? What you said makes me even more curious. Who could possibly move this cold heart of yours? I truly can't imagine. Hearing that, Ethan chuckled softly, but there was something in his eyes that was hard to describe. Yes, that year, when I first came to the Jiang family, I was only 9 years old and had to spend a night in the cold cellar amidst heavy snowfall. If it weren't for her asterisk, I probably wouldn't have survived. After a moment's thought, he looked at me seriously, his voice also deepening. She is the best person in this world. I was utterly shocked, unable to believe it. I almost blurted out, You like the young lady from the Gu family, Serene? As soon as I said it, I immediately realized I had let it slip. This was originally a secret between Ethan and me, never shared with anyone. The Gu and Jiang families had a long-standing relationship, so I often visited as a child. When Ethan was adopted, he was exactly 9 years old, and I was 7. It was common for newly adopted children to be bullied by others. Especially Liam, acting as the leader of the children, led a group of kids from the orphanage to bully Ethan many times. Once, Liam's mother was on a business trip. In mid-December, when heavy snow was falling, Ethan was locked in a cold cellar all night by Liam and a few other children. There was no heating in the cellar, and Ethan developed a high fever of 39 degrees Celsius without anyone knowing. If I hadn't happened to pass by that day and heard noises from inside, Ethan might have fallen into a feverish coma. I tried to recall nearly 20 years of acquaintance with Ethan. There was absolutely nothing ambiguous. He had always been cold to everyone, and although he had helped me many times, I had truly never seen any signs that he liked me. I couldn't help but glance at him. Coincidentally, I caught a glimpse of the corner of Ethan's lips slightly curled upwards. Damn it, he definitely realized something and was intentionally probing me. My mood suddenly grew heavier. Just as I was about to speak, Ethan unexpectedly interjected. Mother, I've just been appointed general manager, and I have a lot of work to attend to. I'll go ahead. I'll call the driver to pick you up later. With that, Ethan turned and left immediately. I watched his retreating figure, completely unable to guess what he was thinking. My mood grew even heavier. It seemed some matters needed to be expedited. I picked up my phone and called my assistant. Go immediately investigate Iris's obstetrical medical records at the medical center and all her past relationships, especially concerning those men. I hung up. I curled my lips into a cold smile. The sordid past affairs of Iris had helped her conceal them many times. According to her, she had previously loved 2 men, both of whom were terrible and despicable characters. The first one, Zachary, was an alcoholic who would beat her severely every time he got drunk. She wanted to break up, but he wouldn't agree. Every time she mentioned breaking up, she would be brutally beaten. During that period, Iris was pregnant twice, and both times, Zachary beat her so badly that she lost the babies. After that, she escaped and met another boyfriend named Kevin, a prominent businessman. However, he secretly cheated on her with someone else. When Iris discovered she was 1 month pregnant, during an argument with Kevin, she unexpectedly went into shock and miscarried. That day, she cried and spoke of her misery, kneeling and pleading for my help. I empathized and brought her to my side, treating her like my own sister, meticulously protecting her and not revealing her past. But looking back now, Iris was truly not as innocent and weak as she pretended to be. This woman was far more complex. Her schemes were very sophisticated and profound. Most of her words from years ago were likely just deceptions. My assistant worked very quickly. Not long after, all the files on Iris were on my desk. Tusk. As I reviewed them, I realized Iris was not just cunning but terrifyingly cold. What was even more intriguing was that the men she had relationships with weren't just Zachary and Kevin, as she had claimed, but also another man named Oliver, who had passed away. The cause of death was recorded as suicide. Yet, strangely, not long after, Iris's account had an additional 500,000. Both Oliver and Iris came from ordinary families. How could she have acquired such a large sum of money? Was it insurance money? And it didn't stop there. Zachary and Kevin were now also in distress, not only having been swindled out of their money but also burdened with large debts. Behind each of those financial losses, Iris's presence was undeniable. Furthermore, Iris had repeatedly turned her pregnancies into schemes to extort money. Once she had the money, the child would naturally be gone. It was a pity that those men still mistakenly believed Iris truly loved them, even wanting to have children with them. In reality, they had fallen into the trap Iris had set. I tapped my fingers on the desk, pondering for a moment. Finally, the corner of my lips curled into a cold smile. Such a thrilling story. If only I know it, it would be a waste of Iris's efforts. I pressed the bell on my desk. A moment later, my assistant entered. I want you to forward Iris's outstanding achievements to Liam and also inform Oliver's family about the insurance money. All right. And also, send them Iris's address. I recall those boyfriends have been looking for her for a long time. It's time they reunited. After the assistant left, I sat quietly in the office. The corner of my lips curved into a faint smile. I truly wanted to know what Liam's expression would be when he learned the whole truth. The result was that the very next day, after Liam received the news, he came looking for me himself. Hearing it from the butler, I felt surprised and let him in. After just 1 month, Liam looked much more haggard. It seemed his recent life hadn't been easy. I smiled coldly, my eyes contemptuously surveying the fallen man before me. Well, has Iris married you yet? Are you two truly happy? As soon as he heard this, Liam's face immediately turned crimson. I merely curled my lips into a faint smile, indifferent to his reaction, and continued. It's only natural. Now you're nothing but a penniless man. Iris is so clever. How could she marry you? She wants an heir to a wealthy family, not Liam. I intentionally emphasized the last words. Look, that's the woman you gave up everything to marry. Look, when the Jiang family is no longer yours, you're nothing in her eyes. Look, that is the price of betrayal. Enough, mother, this is all because you forced me. My current predicament is all thanks to you. If you had given me shares before, allowing me to become the Jiang family heir, why would I be in this situation? How could Iris refuse to marry me? Liam's eyes were bloodshot, and he screamed until his voice was hoarse. Seeing Liam completely collapse, I felt not a shred of pity. Liam continued to blame others without acknowledging any of his own mistakes. I laughed amidst my anger. In that moment, I felt grateful to Iris. If it weren't for her, I might not have clearly seen Liam's true nature. No, I'm actually praising you. I was so furious that I threw the cup in my hand, shattered glass scattering at Liam's feet. But Liam showed no sign of self-reflection, still stubbornly arguing, Mother, I know you don't like Iris and you didn't want me to marry her, so you had Assistant Song give me those documents. Do you think I'd believe it? Hearing that, my heart went cold. Only today did I truly realize how Iris manipulated everything. This woman was undeniably very clever. The evidence was so clear, yet he still believed Iris. A wave of frustration surged within me. Don't believe it. Just wait and see. Before Liam had a chance to retort, I waved my hand. All right, I don't want to hear anything more from you. Get out. Mother, don't be so excessive. Before he could finish, Liam was dragged out by the butler. I stood alone in the empty grand hall, suddenly feeling disappointed, muttering, compared to Iris, I still lost in the end. No, compared to Liam believing Iris, perhaps he just didn't dare to face the truth. I was startled to realize Ethan had been standing behind me without me knowing. Is that so? Yes. For someone like Liam, utterly selfish, when he saw such evidence, he couldn't help but suspect. But the problem is, he didn't dare to admit it. He was afraid that everything he had done was wrong, and even more afraid that I would completely abandon him. Therefore, he tried to convince himself that I was just intentionally provoking him to make him leave Iris, and that the future of the Jiang family would still be in his hands. Of course. The corner of Ethan's lips curled into a smile that was both mysterious and captivating. Suddenly, someone gently took my hand. So cold. A deep, husky male voice softly echoed next to my ear. It felt like a burn. I quickly pulled my hand away, my gaze calm as I looked at Ethan. You've crossed a line. Unexpectedly, after just one night, I was back. I was Miss Serene from the Gu family again. Without time for much thought, I glanced at the calendar. If I wasn't mistaken, today was the day Iris's ex-boyfriends would come to cause trouble. How could such an engaging drama be without an audience? When I arrived at Iris's house, the play seemed to have already begun. Iris no longer had her elegant, demure demeanor. She now looked like a vulgar woman, hair disheveled, face dirty, sitting sprawled on the floor, utterly slovenly. Liam was no better. Perhaps he had been beaten, cowering in a corner, his face bruised, nose swollen, blood trickling from the corner of his lips. The living room was packed with people. Zachary, Kevin, and even Oliver's friends. At this moment, everyone was arguing loudly, shouts echoing chaotically. But they all shared one thing in common, they were all cursing Iris. Pay up, you brazen swindler, my son's death is related to you, isn't it? Otherwise, why would he commit suicide? Hand over the insurance money immediately. If you don't, I'll sue you. Amidst the curses were Iris's pathetic wails. Standing at the door, I couldn't help but clap my hands. Bravo, bravo, truly spectacular. I laughed lightly, my voice sarcastic. Iris, with all the wicked things you've done, did you ever think this day would come? After speaking, I immediately shook my head. No, you definitely never thought about it. You thought you were so clever, believing everyone was in the palm of your hand, so of course, no one would foresee this day. Seeing me appear, Iris was clearly a little surprised. Immediately after, she lunged towards me, crying miserably, looking utterly pitiful. Serene, I was wrong, I was possessed by a demon. At that time, listening to Liam, I thought you and he had no feelings for each other. I didn't intend to steal your boyfriend. Serene, I truly have no other way out. Please help me. At this moment, everyone in the living room simultaneously looked towards me. Among them, a man with a serious expression spoke up cautiously. Are you and Iris accomplices? I didn't answer immediately. Looking into Iris's hopeful eyes, I merely curved my lips slightly, calmly stating, No, I am also a victim. I've come here to collect a debt. Our gazes met, and Iris immediately revealed a look of resentment. Slap, in an instant, I unexpectedly raised my hand and slapped her across the face. Iris clutched her cheek, her round eyes wide with surprise. I slowly took out a handkerchief, wiped my fingers, then gave a cold laugh. Tisk, how dirty. I don't know if I had just hit a nerve with Iris, but she seemed to go mad, trying to get up. However, the bodyguard beside her immediately restrained her. At this point, Iris was pinned tightly to the floor, looking utterly miserable and wild, screaming uncontrollably. Who are you to call me dirty? You're no better than me. Just a woman abandoned by men, no one cares about you. How pathetic. Ha ha ha, you couldn't even keep your wedding. Your fiancé even knelt to propose to your best friend. Ha 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 asterisk Miss Goo family, you're just a joke. At that moment, Liam, as if suddenly awakened, lunged forward and grabbed Iris's hair. The two fiercely tore at each other. It's all because of you. My suffering today is all your fault. You fraud. You're the one who seduced me first. All the blame lies with you. Before he finished, Liam immediately turned to look at me, his eyes full of flattery, his voice hurried and soft. Serene, listen to me. I love you. I truly love you. I just temporarily made a mistake that all men can make. It was all Iris. She was the one who seduced me first. Serene, can you forgive me? Let's get married. I'll organize a beautiful wedding for you. I looked at the two in front of me expressionlessly, silently watching them harm each other. Previously, Liam had sworn to his mother that he would marry no one but Iris. Yet now, after just over a month, the two had become enemies. Just then, the door opened. It was Ethan, with the police following him. Immediately, the police rushed in, quickly escorting Iris and those involved outside. In just a moment, only I, Ethan, and Liam remained in the living room. This scene felt suffocatingly familiar. But Liam now left me with no desire whatsoever to communicate with him. He had completely transformed, losing even his last shred of dignity. I paid no attention to Liam's hopeful gaze, simply turning away silently. Perhaps Liam intended to follow, but Ethan blocked him. Behind us, Liam's desperate, hoarse shouts echoed. Serene, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Serene, don't be foolish. I am the only son of the Jiang family. My mother will not abandon me. Absolutely not. Serene, you'll regret this. A moment later, the door finally closed, completely cutting off all sounds from behind. Do you regret it? I shook my head gently and gave a faint smile. Perhaps my biggest regret was agreeing to my family and accepting that commercial marriage with the Jiang family that year. Just then, the door opened again. Ethan quickly stepped out, the corner of his mouth curving slightly as he softly said, "Wait for me." I blinked a few times. Perhaps there's nothing to regret after all. What is it? Hearing this question, the man, originally cold, suddenly changed a little, his expression somewhat unusual. My mother said there's a family dinner this weekend and asked you to come. I was stunned for a moment before I could react. After I became Madame Jiang, I made another person's son suffer like this. While Madame Jiang was famous for doting on her children, thinking of this, I couldn't help but frown. However, I said nothing, only silently nodded. But I truly hadn't expected that weekend's family dinner to be unusually peaceful. As soon as I entered, Madame Jiang quickly approached, taking my hand and saying, "Serene, you've arrived." Looking into Madame Jiang's gentle eyes, I suddenly felt uncomfortable. Even though Liam was a good-for-nothing from childhood, Madame Jiang had always taken excellent care of me, treating me like her own daughter. Madam Jiang, about Liam recently Don't worry, don't say anything. I've also sensed what's been happening lately. After speaking, Madam Jiang even playfully winked at me, as if to say it was a secret just between us. Seeing Madam Jiang's reaction, I felt relieved, but I hesitated. So Liam? Before I could finish, Madam Jiang frowned, her expression turning serious. That unfilial boy, it seems I've spoiled him too much all these years, making him forget who he is. Serene, you did the right thing. For people like that, they must experience hardship. From now on, no matter what, it no longer concerns me. I won't manage him anymore. Hearing that, I felt a pang of sadness, gently holding Madam Jiang's hand. Madam Jiang, please don't be sad. From now on, just treat me as your own daughter. No matter what, I will always be on your side. Madam Jiang unexpectedly gave a light laugh, turning to look at Ethan beside her. Actually, I should treat you as my own daughter. I sensed the deeper meaning in Madam Jiang's words and awkwardly lowered my head, not daring to look at Ethan. At this moment, the butler suddenly rushed in. He looked at me, then at Ethan, about to say something but stopped. Should I step aside? I couldn't help but speak up. Madam Jiang frowned, her face looking displeased. What is it? Speak. There are no outsiders here. After a long moment, the butler finally hesitated and spoke. It's the young master. He wishes to see you. Hearing this, Madam Jiang's expression immediately became indifferent, her voice stern. I've already said, he is no longer a member of the Jiang family. Before, he was so arrogant because of that girl, Iris, and now he's just realized his mistake. Unfortunately, I don't want to hear it. Tell him to leave. The butler frowned, looking at me, but the young master is standing outside the door, limping and refuses to leave. I held my breath when I heard that. His leg is crippled. I couldn't help but glance at Madam Jiang. Even though she said she wouldn't care about Liam anymore, he was still her biological son. If he was merely suffering hardship, she might not mind, but if he was truly disabled. When she heard the words, limping leg, Madam Jiang's expression changed completely. Her usually cold eyes held an undisguised worry. I sighed inwardly. After all, he was still her biological son. Although I felt no sympathy for Liam, Madam Jiang was different. After a moment, Madam Jiang finally spoke. Let him in. When I saw Liam again, his demeanor had completely changed. If last time at Iris's house, Liam merely looked defeated, now he looked like a different person entirely. His eyes were gloomy, his face haggard with red streaks. He limped on one leg, slowly stepping towards us. Looking at him, he resembled a hooligan, even darker, giving off an unsettling feeling. Mother, I was wrong. When he reached his mother, Liam knelt down. Madam Jiang merely nodded, her expression still faint. If you know your mistake, then fine. For our years as mother and son, I will find a good doctor to treat your leg. But this matter ends here. Hearing that, Liam's expression clearly froze, his voice trembling. Mother, are you truly not acknowledging me anymore? I've admitted my mistake, isn't that enough? I gave a cold chuckle inwardly. Indeed, upon hearing he couldn't return to the Jiang family, his true nature was immediately revealed. Liam was still the same, nothing had changed. Madam Jiang had extensive experience in the business world. How could she not see through his schemes? Upon hearing this, Madam Jiang immediately became cold, her voice firm. I told you long ago, you are no longer a member of the Jiang family. Don't dream of my assets. What I say, I will do. From now on, our mother-son relationship ends here. Get back to the hospital immediately. Don't let me see you again. Ha ha! Liam suddenly burst into maniacal laughter, then unexpectedly lunged forward, pulling a knife from his chest. Die. If you die, the Jiang family's assets will belong to me. Everything will be mine. Ha ha! The very next second, someone's hand firmly gripped the blade. Blood flowed from the hand, dripping down the hilt, splattering onto the floor. Just a moment later, Liam was kicked hard by Ethan, falling to the ground. He lay prone, his face contorted as he screamed like a madman. It's all your fault. Who told you not to leave all the Jiang family's assets to me? I'm your biological son, why wouldn't you make me the heir? And you, Ethan, an adopted child, how dare you steal from me? You should have been locked in that cellar to die long ago so you wouldn't have a chance to compete with me. Serene, why didn't you help me? I admitted my mistake. It's all your fault, all of you. Like a cornered beast, he furiously cursed all of us. I coldly looked at Liam, who was kneeling on the ground, my eyes filled with contempt as if looking at a clown. This is all your own doing. As soon as I finished speaking, Liam suddenly fell silent, his whole body trembling, his eyes glazing over. Finally, the police arrived and took Liam away. We then learned that in the few days Iris had been arrested, Liam had taken all the cash from Iris's house to squander, resulting in him being swindled out of all his money and incurring a huge debt. Because he couldn't pay, he was also beaten and had his leg broken. Liam had returned simply to beg for money. When Madame Jiang learned the truth, she was utterly despairing and decided to abandon Liam, leaving him to fend for himself. Ethan and I went to the hospital. The wound on his hand was a bit deep and required rest and treatment for some time. That afternoon, as we sat in the hospital corridor, Ethan suddenly spoke. "Do you know, Iris was actually involved in Oliver's death." Hearing that, I paused. Although I knew Iris had received a large insurance payout, I never expected her to be directly involved in a murder. I couldn't help but exclaim, "Liam and Iris truly are a perfect match. Both are extremely selfish, but in the end they got the outcome they deserved. So, it's over now. What do you plan to do next?" His deep, warm voice echoed beside my ear. I looked out the window. The sunset had enveloped the sky. I couldn't help but stretch leisurely. "Is it really over? I want to travel. I want to go mountain climbing." Half a month passed. I sat alone on the mountaintop, watching the sunrise. Just then, a familiar voice echoed from behind. "Serene, long time no see." I looked at the smile in Ethan's eyes and gently returned one. "Did you come here to watch the sunrise?" It was early morning, 5:30 a.m. The sun slowly rose above the horizon. "Serene, can I pursue you?" "Depends on how you show it." Outtake, Miss Guek's adopted son asterisk. I drifted into a dream. In the chaotic dream, someone called me Serene, and someone else held my hand tightly, whispering, "Mother, your hand is so cold." I wanted to see the person's face clearly, but I could only hear his voice repeating in my ear. A deep, husky voice, both intense and restrained. "Serene." I followed the voice, looking towards the man standing in the shadows. It was Ethan. Honestly, my relationship with Ethan wasn't particularly intimate. But ever since Ethan was 9 years old, when he was locked in a dark cellar and developed a high fever, I coincidentally saved him. This became a secret only we knew. So, even though we weren't extremely close, we weren't estranged either. Ethan was very handsome, and his academic performance was always top tier. Many girls liked him, but he always kept his distance and remained indifferent, living a solitary life for 28 years. There were times I suspected, and I'm sure everyone knows what I'm implying. But every time trouble arose, he was very rational, ready to help me overcome any difficulties. In my first year of university, Ethan and I went drinking. After getting drunk, he told me he liked a girl and wanted to confess. But the very next day, Liam confessed to me, and we officially became a couple. Later, I asked Ethan if he still planned to confess to the girl he liked, but he didn't answer. When I started working, communication between Ethan and me gradually decreased, almost to none. He still seemed as indifferent as before, but I clearly noticed his growing hatred for Liam. I recalled the chaotic memories that flashed by. Suddenly, in my dream, I saw myself transform into Madame Jiang. Ethan stood behind me, gently draping a coat over my shoulders. "Madam, the night is very cold." Ethan looked at me with a faint smile. "Madam, you seem like a different person lately." He took my hand. "Madam, your hand is so cold." I quickly pulled my hand away in alarm. "You've crossed a line." His voice was low and seductive, making me tremble. "I'm just your adopted son with no blood relation." "Ah, what's wrong? Am I having a nightmare?" When I met Ethan's worried gaze, my heart pounded rapidly, as if it would leap out of my chest. In that moment, I couldn't distinguish whether this was a dream or reality. I swallowed a mouthful of saliva and gently moved my leg. "Ah!" I gasped, the pain almost bringing tears to my eyes. Only then did I remember I had slipped while descending the mountain and passed out. It must be due to falling on my leg that it hurt so much. Where are we? I looked around and realized I was still on the mountain. Still on the mountainside. "Since you're awake, I'll carry you down." Then Ethan bent down and gently lifted me onto his back. Lying on his back, I felt a sense of security I had never experienced before. Thinking about the dream I just had, I couldn't resist asking, "First year of university, that day you invited me out for drinks and we got completely drunk, do you remember?" Hearing that, Ethan paused for a moment, then remained silent before speaking. "What do you want to ask?" "That day you said you liked someone and wanted to confess, but in the end you didn't. Was that person?" "Oh, right." Ethan answered without hesitation. "So, when I possessed Madame Jiang's body, you also found out, didn't you?" "Yes. How did you know?"